Well, hello. Good evening, and welcome. I am feeling a little bit flustered because what I didn't realise is that, of course, it's Halloween. Of course, I knew that, but my husband has literally only just got home, and there are trick-or-treaters coming to the door every few minutes, and I'm trying to put both kids to bed. So that's been really fun. So my husband literally just walked through the door, and I was like, bye. Hey Angie, how you doing, lovely? Hope you're cool. Look, I've got my cake. Got my cake here. I've got my cup of tea. Got my cup of tea. Look, Queen of Mummies. Got my cup of tea, and I'm ready to go. So I am going to get started because I've only got half an hour. I've got some lovely client calls this evening, but what's a better way to get pumped up with the client calls than to talk to you about the amazing experience I've had over the last week. Hey Nicola. Nicola's got kids all jumping all over her probably. Girl, you're only 4 hours ahead of me. I was waiting for you an hour ago. Okay. Oh, I'm not sure how that works then. Our clocks have just changed. I'm sorry about that, Angie. Hey, Nicola. Sorry about that, Angie. So what time is it where you are then? It must be 3 o'clock in the afternoon then. Sorry, Angie. Right, I'm going to get cracking. So, cool. So, yes, amazing experience. I'm going to give the lowdown on it because not only is it something, obviously, that, you know, it's good to tell you about all the juicy gossip, but also if it's something that you're even remotely thinking about, then it can give you trick-or-treaters at the door, give you more of an insight into what it's like and what's involved and all of that sort of stuff. So I am going to start at the beginning. So if you don't know, it was very, very, very short notice. So I've wanted to do this talk for a long time. It's something that's been on my vision board in my dreams for a long time. Even when I used to work in my corporate job, I used to watch TED Talks and I used to be like, yeah, that's cool. I'd love to be involved in something like that. If you're jumping on, say, hey, nice to see you. Tell me who's on. And also, if you're watching the replay, it's always nice to say hey. So yeah, you know, I've always respected TED Talks. You know, I've seen it as a prestigious thing. It's, you know, people who give TED Talks are well-respected people. And of course, TEDx events are independently run TED events. So they're not the main events, but they are independently run. Now, what I actually found out was that the main TED events are very expensive. Hey Sam, hey Cor, nice to see you. Hope you've enjoyed Halloween. The main TED events are highly curated. They are big, glossy events that cost a lot of money to produce and cost a lot of money to attend. And the reason why TEDx events were created was for them to be more accessible to people. And usually TEDx events are a maximum of 100 people in the audience, but not Brighton. And the reason why Brighton wasn't a maximum of 100 people was because Mark Koska, who was the Master of Ceremonies, who was leading the event, had given a TED talk before. He's an amazing man, by the way. He invented the reusable syringe for third world countries. Amazing man, incredible to me. And he was emceeing on the day. He was introducing all the speakers. So because he had done a TED talk, he was allowed to do a larger TEDx event, and it was at the Brighton Dome. And the Brighton Dome, I think it's either 1,300 or 1,500 people. So that's slightly more than 100. So we were actually talking to TED-like audiences, a TED-like audience, because we were talking to 1,300 to 1,500 people, which was incredible in itself. And the second thing was, it was at the Dome, and the Dome is one of the most amazing buildings. It's a beautiful, the Prince Regent used to come down to Brighton, and he had a palace built, and I don't know if you've seen it, but the Brighton Pavilion, if you don't know what that looks like, you should look it up. It's an incredible ornate palace, and his horse shed, where he used to practice putting the horses around, was where I performed. I gave my talk, and it's this beautiful, amazing, huge, great big building with loads and loads of seats and a massive stage. So that was incredible in itself. The other thing about TED Talks is TEDx is they're completely volunteer run. So all of the people, the backing staff, the production crew, the sound people, everybody was doing it for free. And that is just brilliant. So that, it makes it even more special because everybody's just willingly giving their time to talk, to run the show and to put it all together. And it's the guys that put it all together are absolutely incredible because they were working their socks off to make it happen. Imagine it's a huge, great big event and there was dancers and all sorts of things going on. So I was contacted by Toby, and Toby is an amazing chap, and he was organising the event. Hang on. I was contacted by him on Monday afternoon, last Monday, and told one of the ladies, I think her name was Freddie, she wasn't able to attend because she lived in Finland, I think it was, and she was pregnant, and then she was told that she couldn't fly. So they were considering me, but they weren't 100%. So I had to wait over 24 hours for them to go to a committee vote and to see whether I would be the best person. And there were lots and lots and lots of people to choose from, but they were thinking that I would be the best person, which I couldn't believe, absolutely couldn't believe. And 24 hours later, I still hadn't heard anything, and I thought, that's it, I'm not in. So I texted him and said, have you heard? And he said, yes, you're in. We were 100% behind you. Come on board. You'll get some information tomorrow, and then it's rehearsals on Thursday, and it's all day on Friday. So I had to do a lot of scrabbling around in terms of childcare and shifting my lovely clients around and, all that sort of stuff. And thanks for the hearts, Ange. And then I had to start preparing this speech that could only be 15 minutes long, and it had to be 15 minutes or under, and it was timed, and it was 15 minutes, and slides were recommended. But I had to get the slides over as soon as possible. And I started off by thinking, I haven't got time to do slides. I'm not going to do slides because, I haven't got time and there's just too much to think about. So I started thinking about what I wanted to say, practiced it a few times, and then I had to, what happened then? It was all a bit of a blur, but I had to go to the Dome and it wasn't a rehearsal, it was a sound check, and it was like, here's your place, this is where you stand. There was a red circle that you had to stand in, and you couldn't move off the red circle because of the cameras, where the cameras were. And also because you couldn't wander up and down the stage because people tend to pace up and down the stage and it doesn't look very good. So you had to keep on this red circle, and you had to wear a microphone which came around the back of your head all the way around here and down here, and a pack, one of those packs on your back. And so on Thursday I met all of the speakers, and we all did a little run through in terms of going off and on, and I had managed to bang some slides together by Thursday because I thought I want to do some slides. But I think it was Thursday morning. Yes, it was Thursday morning. It was just my story. Like, I literally was just telling my story, and it just didn't sound right. It just didn't sound. It was just a bit like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and I just couldn't imagine myself standing on stage saying it, because it just didn't sound very good. And then all of a sudden this idea came to me about The Wizard of Oz, and because I love that film and I do use The Wizard of Oz in some of my exercises with my clients, I use those references. I started to think about the quotes that I could use that maybe I could put on the slides that might tie it all together. And so I started to look at the Wizard of Oz quotes, and I managed to find some quotes that sort of linked in with my learning points. It all kind of came together at the last minute. And I called it Lessons from the Wizard of Oz, because, it just tied in. So I used a few quotes and then went onto Canva, got some pictures, put them onto some slides, and then whacked them over. And that was it. Literally, I did that so quickly. I did it without... And I think the thing is, because I only had 2 days, in some respects it was better, because I'm a planner and I like to plan. In some respects it was better to actually do it quickly. I don't know if you're the type of person that likes to plan ahead, or I know what Sam likes to do, or if you're the type of person that likes to do everything at the last minute. Well, actually it suited me better to do everything at the last minute, because I didn't have enough time to flap about it. So went there, met all the speakers, and these people were incredible. These people were amazing. Just a few people that I have to mention. Whitney Eales, she runs a project called Project 507, and she goes into prisons and she helps reduce violence in prisons, and she supports the prisoners, and she is an amazing woman. She's an incredible woman, and it's her organisation. She's a young girl, and she's just incredible. And then I met Adam Pearson, and Adam does campaigns and is a speaker and supports people and talks on behalf of people with facial disfigurements, and he was incredibly inspiring. And I met Jordan Stevens, and Jordan is one half of the band called Rizzle-Kicks. If you're in the UK, I don't know if you've heard of Rizzle-Kicks if you're in Canada or the US or anywhere else, but he is in Rizzle-Kicks, and he is doing a mental health campaign at the moment, and he was wonderful. He was a lovely chap. Who else did I meet? I met a lady called Sarah who has invented a bag and a backpack that doesn't have zips on the outside, it has zips on the inside. So when you're wearing a backpack, it's secure and you don't worry about if people are going to steal anything from you. Amazing, amazing people. All of these people were incredible. I met the Bird Whisperer. Never heard of them, Rizzle-Kicks. No, you probably wouldn't. But they are big in the UK. Not enough time to second guess yourself and overthinking things. Plan all year, exactly. Hey Nikki, hey. And then I met this lady called the Bird Whisperer, and she hears bird songs and she memorises all of the different bird songs in the rainforests. Incredible woman, right? All of these people I met on Thursday, and we did the run through together. Yes, and then I was invited to go out to dinner with them all on Thursday night. Hey Nikki. So off I went Thursday night to a restaurant in Brighton and had a good old chinwag. I met a lady called Karen Pine. She's incredible as well. Who is she runs an organisation called Do Something Different. She was amazing. Anyway, I talked to all these wonderful people, had a lovely dinner, and then it got to about 9 o'clock, and I was like, do you know what? I'd had my one glass of wine. I was like, look, I've got to go home because my son doesn't sleep and I need to get a good night's sleep as much as I can because I'm getting really, really nervous about tomorrow. And so I went home and I did Josie's sleep audio, which was amazing and really, really helped. So if you do have any problems sleeping, Josie Louise Broxham, Josie, my brain's gone, buy her sleep audio because it really, really helped me. And then on Friday morning, I literally I got dressed, got me a frock on. I did 2 run-throughs, and then I went as soon as I could to the Dome because I wanted to see. It was on all day. It was an all-day event, and I wanted to see as many of the speakers as I could because I'd met them and I'd built relationships with them. So I think I got there about 10. And I went into the audience because I had an access all areas little wristband, and I watched these amazing speakers, and you know what? As I watched them, I got more and more nervous because they were all nailing it, and they were brilliant, and they were so composed, and they were really engaging, and they had got laughs, and they were, the audience were really captivated by them, and I was getting more and more nervous. When you hear your heartbeat in your ears, I was like sat there with people around me, and I was starting to get really panicky. And then I met up with Sammy. Sammy was there, Sammy Collison, and Josie came, and Raya came, and poor Jess was coming, but she unfortunately somebody went into the back of her, which was really, really unfortunate, so she wasn't able to come. But Jenny came, and bless Sam. Sam also came as well. Sam nipped in when I did my talk and had to nip back out again. But it was full. It was absolutely rammed. There was people standing up, so the whole auditorium was absolutely rammed, and it was really good being the observer, sitting in the audience, and then going backstage. So I went for lunch with Sammy and Jenny, and then after I was on at 3:30, so I was getting more and more nervous. And then I think it was about 45 minutes before I spoke, I had to go backstage, and I had to stay backstage in this little corridor with my microphone at the ready, all wired up to my microphone. And I was so unbelievably nervous. I couldn't picture myself being calm enough to actually talk, because I was, like that. And this lovely chap, the sound guys, just was talking to me, and he was so lovely. And do you know what helped me? I did some power poses. I did my power poses, and I did some visualizations, and I heard, so the speaker before me, I heard her talking. Now she was really nervous. Kat, she's a recycling goddess, and I heard she was nervous, and then she went on and she was talking fine, and I was like, okay, well, Kat was nervous and she's okay. But I got more and more nervous, and then I had to go and wait, and I was, when you get really dry mouth, like cotton mouth. Yes, the power poses worked. Positive mental rehearsal as well, like the athletes do. I kept on visualising myself at the end of the event and how I was feeling and what was happening, and that gave me real comfort and really helped to calm me down. And then I was really dry mouth, so I was like, oh, please can somebody get me some water? And the chap ran off to get some water, and I got ushered through. Cotton mouth, yeah. And then it was my turn to go on. I was like, ah! And he literally gave me the glass of water just as the chap, Mark, was introducing me, and I just went like that. And then I walked on. And I shook his hand as I walked on, and I went and I stood on that red dot. Oh, and all the nerves just disappeared. They literally just disappeared. I stood there and it felt right. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like everything just fell into place, and the good thing was, Angie, is that I could hardly see anybody because the lights were so bright. I could see the front few rows and people were smiling, and it felt warm and friendly. It felt like everybody was just being really kind and warm and friendly. And I stood there, and the first line came out, which I'd rehearsed a few times in my head and out loud, and that was it. And that was it. And then off I went, and it felt amazing. Oh my God, that feeling was incredible. To stand there on that stage in front of all those people and to deliver my message and tell my story was pretty up there with, like, the best experiences. Of course, the birth of my children and my marriage and, my wedding day and things like that, of course. But it was really up there, the whole thing. It went really well, and I don't think it was an adrenaline rush, and I don't know, it just felt right. And I felt like I was talking to people and I was really connecting with them. And the slides went, I think at some point the slides just went like blank, but because I hadn't anchored myself too much to the slides, it was okay, and I still remembered what to say. And I think I left a few bits out. And I came in at 14 minutes, so I came in just under, which was good, because when I was rehearsing, I was going over and over, and my alarm kept going off, and I still had more to say. So I came in at, I think it was about 14 minutes, because there was a little countdown timer on the screen. There was a screen in front of you, and you could see your slides. And it was about 14 minutes, and but the best bit I've got to share with you. In my story, I talk about overcoming my complete lack of confidence and loss of identity, and I talked about the mission that the mission that I set myself was to do all of these things, like build a business and work on my marriage and get published in Huffington Post, and all of these things that I put on my vision board. And the best moment was when I said, and guess what else was on that vision board? And I just went like this. As in, I'm here talking to you, and everyone clapped and went woo like that, and that was like the most amazing moment. It was just incredible. Honestly, it makes me feel really emotional, because that is why I'm there. That is why I was there talking to them, because I'd overcome my loss of confidence. And I set myself that goal and I worked towards it, and I did it. And so therefore, when I said to them, and you can do that too, you can do it. If you can dream it, you can do it. And that was my message to them. And, you know, I left them with that message. And it just felt amazing. But, you know, the best thing, thank you, Walla. Hey, how you doing, Walla? The best thing was, well, I guess that was just incredible. Hey, Emma. Hey. Was, so that moment when I said that, and then I left them with a quote, and the quote was, "You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself." And I said, "Thank you," and then I walked off. And oh yeah, because you were there, Sam, weren't you? You were there, weren't you? That when they clapped was also just incredible. So I was on such a high, and I came straight back off stage, and Jordan was waiting because it was Adam was up next, and then Jordan was there, and I had a chat with Jordan. He was so lovely. He was so unbelievably lovely. He was so nervous, and he was like, "I heard you. You were great. You were brilliant," and it just was perfect. And then I went into the auditorium, and people started coming up to me. People, you know, the talks were still going on. They started coming up to me. One of the staff came up to me and said, "Oh, I've just heard your story. I've got to tell you, it really resonated with me because I've been through this, and then I've done this, and this is happening in my life, you know." And that was brilliant. And then afterwards went to the pub, and about 4 people came up to me in the pub and said, "Oh, I loved your speech." And these women were, one of them was about 20. One of them was 24, so younger than me, and not had kids yet, but still the message resonated with them, and that made me feel, I don't know, just made me feel like I can, you know, at least I can help you as well with that message. It's not just about mums who've lost themselves. People can all feel lost at some point in their lives, and if I can help as many people as possible, regardless of whether they've had kids or not. Thank you for all the hearts. Angie, that's really sweet of you. Hey Sally, hey Adam. Then that's amazing, and to have those people come up to me and say that blew me away. And by that time I'd chucked back a few wines, and I was riding on my buzz massively, and having all these people speak to me about it was just topped it off. Cherry on the cake. And not only that, but since then I've had people contact me over the weekend. I've had people contact me over Twitter and Facebook and send me messages. People that were in the audience that it resonated with, people in the audience that I knew, that I hadn't spoken to in a while, that were like, "Oh my God, I was just happily watching TEDx and then you pop up on stage." Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And there's also some more things that have happened I probably can't speak about because they might be opportunities, but you know, amazing. So what I want to do is, I just wanted to kind of give you the lowdown on it, but also to say, hey Claire, is that if you think that you would like that in any way, that you would like to speak at an event, but of course the social phobia is holding you back, I understand that, but if it is something that you really, really would love to do, you know, some people, it's not for some people. You know, some people say, "Oh no, actually, that I couldn't think of anything worse than standing up in front of a room full of people." That's cool. But if you are someone who has a message to share, if you do want to stand out in your field, if you do want to be known, if you do want to spread your message in other ways, then absolutely go for it. And you can do it about anything you want. The talk can be about anything. Gosh, there was me, just a mum on a mission, sharing my story. There were people on that stage that were really making an impact in people's lives. Dementia charities, as I talked about, Whitney with her project. You know, people who are really, really making an impact on the world. And I'm just a mum, you know, a mum who went on a journey. But still, I was, you know, Toby, who organised the event, said it fitted in really well. And that means that you have a message to share as well. And if you want to share it, go for it. But my one piece of advice to you is be persistent. Because there was a time, as you probably know, that when I wouldn't have even dreamt of doing something like this. So that's the first thing. But because I had to persist with it, so the first thing was I sent an email to the main address and I got a bounce back. Now, I could have just stopped there and thought no, but I didn't. And I found the names of the people who were organising the event and I managed to get in touch with them. Yes, that may have been a little bit hustly. I call it hustly. Let's call it hustly, not harassy. But I really wanted. It was something that I really, really, really wanted, and I just did whatever I could to make that happen. So it didn't just fall in my lap. It didn't just happen. I didn't put it on my vision board and then it just dropped out of the sky. I did have to make that happen. I did have to take action towards it. And even then I got told no. Even then when I found the email, when I got the email address of the person, he didn't reply. And so I chased him and then he told me it was full. And then a month and a half later, that's when I get a call saying someone's dropped out. And we looked at your email out of all of the other people. God knows however many other people applied or sent an email. And we want you to talk. Now, that's a sequence of events that meant I had to persist to actually make it happen. So my message is, it doesn't have to be hard, but you do have to take action. You do have to take action because these things don't just drop out of the sky. They don't just drop out of the sky. So, even though I'd stopped thinking about it for 1.5 months, I still had done all that kind of groundwork. And God, I'm glad I bloody did now. And I got the most amazing message from Toby this morning, and it just made me cry. And I've had messages from my friends. I can see Rachel's on. Hey, Rachel. I've had messages from my friends and my family over the weekend that have also made me cry. And, how amazing to see people like Josie and Raya and Jenny and Sam and Sammy there, and actually see them in person. It all means so much, and all the messages from the wonderful tribe of amazing women I have in my group and on this business page and my personal page. It's just incredible. I would love you, but I don't think I could be as brave as you. If you would love to, then you can absolutely do it, Chrissy. You can absolutely do it. You would be incredible. You'd be absolutely incredible. What a story you have to share, honestly. And that was the other thing. I've got to go now, because I've got some lovely client calls now. It was to say that it's completely gone out of my head. What was I going to say? It was something. It was a message to share. I'm going to have to put it below because I can't remember. So yeah, that's my message. If you do want to do it, if you've even got a little inkling that you want to do it, do it. And it doesn't have to be a talk. It could be something else in terms of thinking about the dreams that you have, whatever it is. Keep that in your mind as something to aim towards, but take action. And I've got a little treat for you before I go, because this is something. So I've had loads and loads of people message me about dreams and dreaming big and going for your dreams, and that is a big theme for me, because of the story that the journey that I've been on. So what I'm going to do is, if that's something that you feel that you need help with, I am offering a dream casting session, and that's something that I normally just do with my clients. I'm offering 3 dream casting sessions to people. They're free, 45 minutes to an hour long. And what we would do is we would really start to work through what those dreams could look like for you, where you are at the moment, what can happen for you to get there, and what action you need to take towards them. So I'm opening up 3 slots for that, and they're really, really laser focused sessions on you and your dreams and making them happen. All right, so if that's something you're interested in, just send me a private message, because on the back of this, that's something that I really want to help people with. So sorry, notifications coming through. Do get in touch if that's something that you're interested in. It's no obligation to do anything else. We may talk about how I might be able to help you after that, but no obligation whatsoever to do anything else. I just really want to help you get clear on your dreams and how you can work towards them to make them happen. Because if you can dream it, you can do it, and you can do it. Okay. Do post any questions below. I'm going to go now, but I just wanted to share that with you. Please do say hey if you're watching the replay, and any questions, just let me know. And if you want one of those dream casting sessions, just send me a message. Thanks so much for all the hearts. Thanks so much, everybody, for jumping on, and I will see you all soon. Bye.